Hello, guys. Basically, what I want to talk about today is a talking point that I've been seeing tossed around in social media for a very long time. And it's a talking point that's meant to distract from the conversation. And the conversation is usually about bad cops. And when you're talking about bad cops, somebody want to bring up good cops and tell us all they're good cops like we don't know this. We not only know that they're good cops, we also know that most cops are good cops and they don't go around shooting people. They don't go around beating people for nothing. Okay? That's a no-brainer, like I said. But let's break this down into common sense. Let's say you have two officers. They come to work, they go to the watch, they get the daily report, they get in their units, they both go on patrol. One patrols on one side of town, the other one patrols on the opposite side of town. One gets called to a domestic dispute. When he shows up, the family is fighting like cats and dogs. Even the in-laws are involved. The children are crying. Home in total chaos. But let's say that before he leaves, he did such a great job. Everyone in the home has a smile on their face, and they're loving each other, and they're hugging each other, and they're inviting him to stay for a cup of coffee and a piece of cake. Now, this sort of thing actually happens. And that officer did a great job, didn't he? Of course he did. But let's say the other officer on the other side of town pulls someone over for a traffic stop. When the person asks what was the probable cause for pulling him over, the officer becomes angry, pulls him out of the car, begins to strike him, and then tells him, "Show me your ID." We all know most people, most men, keep their ID in their wallet in their back pocket. When he goes to reach for it, he shoots him 5 times. Then when the body falls to the ground, he shoots him an additional 3 to 5 times. Now, let's say he lies about this. The officer does. Because though he cut his body cam off, he forgets about the fact that the dash cam caught everything. This has actually happened. And let's say he says, "No, I never asked him for his ID. That's why I thought he was reaching for a weapon when he reached in his back pocket." And let's say he says, "No, I was never unprofessional. In fact, I was professional the whole time." And he was being belligerent, cursing me out. I was actually starting to fear for my life. And then let's say he says, "The reason I shot him so many times is because when I shot him the first time, he didn't stop. It was like he was possessed, like he had superhuman strength." But the dash cam shows different. Are you telling me that that second cop shouldn't pay for what he did because his coworker did such a bang-up job on a domestic call? Because he did such wonderful work, working with a family to bring them together instead of arresting someone? What kind of sense does that make? That's absolutely moronic. And while we're talking about this subject, let's go into black-on-black crime. First of all, show me a criminal that gets paid through my tax dollars and gets equipped through my tax dollars and takes an oath to protect and serve my community. Then we can have a discussion. But also, if you would take a little visit over to FBI.gov and do some research, you will find, I think the last time I checked, it was about like 4 or 5 years ago. It fluctuates annually. It was like 85% of white murder victims were murdered by white people, and 90% of black murder victims were murdered by black people. Now, if you want to brag about a little percentage in difference, fine, go right ahead. I don't think that justifies saying that cops should be able to murder people because whichever ethnic group he seems to be targeting, they're always killing each other. It's something very bizarre about being murdered by someone in which every week or 2 weeks, you look at your pay stub and there's taxes being taken out and he's being paid from those tax revenues. He's getting his benefits from those tax revenues. That's completely different. Another moronic talking point. Most people who use these talking points, let's just keep it 100. They're bigots. Okay? They're bigots. Some of them are naive. There are a few, but most of them, that's not the case. And as you can see, I am involved in protection, in private protection myself. I was a cop for 8 years. Loved it. Most cops are good. I'm still friends with a lot of cops. Okay? So yeah, we all know most cops are good. Like I said, just like we all know, most priests don't molest children. Okay? There's a big problem with men of privilege raping women and getting off. But we all know that most men of privilege don't go around raping women. There's a big problem with rape within the military. We all know most soldiers don't go around raping women in the military. But when we find that someone is doing wrong, usually we all agree that they should pay a price. Now we need to come to a day when we all agree when a police officer is clearly seen doing something wrong, they need to pay the price accordingly. Thank you very much for your time. You guys have a great extended weekend, okay? Thank you.